Well, welcome everyone to our webinar today. We are going to talk about our new wsTOOLS, the ones that are hot off the press. Just finished these this last week or two. And the two we're going to talk about today is PO copy paste and the select job transfer, in particular the history portion that became part of that tool now as well. I do also want to mention last week, Sandy and I were on here and we were talking about Quick Mail version 3. So if you haven't heard about that one, check out the recorded webinar and it'll give you all the latest information in the new windows that we added in order to do batch processing or multi-selection of invoice processing and sending those emails. So check that out as well. I am Cheryl Simmons. I'm the Vice President here at IS and work on tools along with Sandy, who's on, our business analyst, and she does our testing as well as helps plan out our tool releases as well. So say hi, Sandy.
Hello.
And Sandy's going to be monitoring our question and chat panels today. So if you have questions about anything that we're talking through, feel free to jot it in there, as well as just general comments, also the chat session. So she's going to be looking at both of those. So we'll stop periodically and make sure we cover those during this webinar as well. All right, Sandy, are we ready to roll?
We are ready to roll, Cheryl.
All right, so the first one we're going to talk about is the PO copy paste. Let's see if my slideshow will move now. There we go. So this one, we have a copy paste tool out today, and this one, that particular one is focused in on the GL portion. So being able to create a general ledger transaction and copy in your debits and credits, including if you're distributing those to the signature, key to act, jobs, service calls, and unbilled. And so this is similar in regards to that, except for it's for purchase orders. And this request came from a customer who was looking for the ability to basically have repeatable purchase orders but yet being able to assign service calls, jobs to them as well. And they work off of Excel already in their process. And so they were like, is there a way that we can just take the same data that we order over and over for our jobs in their case and have that brought in and be on our purchase order, very easily. And so this particular tool addresses that issue. And so from a copy paste perspective, again, focusing at making things faster and bringing in that data. But as far as the process go and the steps, you'll go through your purchase order entry window like you normally would, enter in your header information where you're putting in, what vendor you want to use, the document numbers, and then the types that are supported for this particular tool are the standard and dropship types, no blankets. And if you have the need for blankets, please reach out and share that with us, as well as how you use your blankets. Because right now, from a functionality standpoint, we're finding most people are using that standard or dropship types. So once you have that top information entered in, then you'll go ahead and just highlight on your Excel spreadsheet the lines that you want to bring in, copy those from your spreadsheet and choose to paste them in within your purchase order entry window. And it actually is doing all the validations for you. Like, is this an item? Okay, I'll go get the cost unless you put the cost in. Is this a non-inventory item? Then it looks for a little more data so you can fill in all the required fields. And again, you can do jobs, service calls, or unbilled with those line items. So that's pretty cool. And then, like we said, it does validation for errors. And so if you're missing data or, you put in a cost code that doesn't exist, it's going to tell you that and print out an error report for you. So you can take that, go fix your data, and then recopy and paste in. And once you've done all that, then you continue on with your process and normally do your commit to your Java service call or just save the purchase order, whatever your standard process is. So pretty easy to use. And Sandy, I think we should take a look at this, actually see it in action.
Yeah.
All right. I'm assuming no questions yet, but
no questions yet. I think everyone's waiting to see the tool first.
All right. So I'll go ahead. Can you see my GP now?
Yep.
All right. Well, we better head on into purchase order entry, right? That's where we said you're going to be able to see this. So let me bring up, and we're just going to do a standard. And like I said, it's only the standard and dropship POs out of this first option here that you can select. If we're going to be using the copy paste, we'll just take our defaults for our PO number. And I always like using ABC Plumbing. It's my favorite vendor, just so you know. All right, so
Mine
by
too.
top, yours too, huh?
Yep.
He's towards the top. He's always easy to pick. So for this one, what I mean by the header information is this top information here. So then let's go ahead and take a look at our Excel spreadsheet, and we ship a sample template for you that has all these headers in it for you already. So it's ready to go if you could just manually type these in, or if you have multi-select, if there's certain ones that you just want to copy and keep in your master ones. But again, all of you use Excel all the time, so definitely a useful tool. But here, I mean, I could copy in all of these at once. And again, I don't select the headers, I just select the data. Or you could do, one, the first one by itself, make sure that's good, then the next one. But I'm gonna do all of these. Let's go ahead and choose to copy those. Get that out of the way. My little Excel. Back over here into my PO entry, and under additional, we have the copy paste. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And it's processing away, and there we go. I have all my lines automatically copied in. So that was 7 lines of data, and look how quickly everything's in there versus manually, typing tab, put in my quantities, let the cost come in, it brings all that data in for me from the spreadsheet. So pretty slick, pretty cool. I am going to do one more line, and I'm going to actually create some bad data though. So hold on just a second. So I'm going to get an error now. I'm going to do off the screen here. I'm just changing the data, and I'm going to choose copy. So I'm going to scroll down here so you guys can see, and I'm going to put it in here at number 8, put additional, paste. And like I said, right, if there's an error, we get an error report. So I'll just print this to the screen. And here it's telling me Costco does not exist for this job. So like I say, if you mistyped information into the spreadsheet, or it's not being able to validate, and actually what's really going on in this particular case is I changed the cost element to be a 1 when really it should not be a 1, because it's not a labor cost code, it's a different one. But it's basically telling me this cost code, this combination doesn't exist on my job, which is true, very accurate. So again, the error report is basically outlining what is wrong and what you need to fix before you can do that paste again. So I will not be copying and pasting that bad line. And then you just go ahead and click save or commit, just like you do with your regular process, and continue on to your next one. And again, back in your spreadsheet here is, in this particular one, I had different service calls in jobs that I was transferring to. But if you think about, let's say you have 20 items that you put on every job, it's a startup job for you. And what you could do is just replace all these job numbers, put in the next job number, copy and paste in the next PO, and away you go. Replace the job number. And again, it could just speed up your data processing exponentially and get you going faster than you are today, which is cool. All right, Sandy, that's copy paste. Anything else there?
Very cool tool, but no questions yet.
All
so
right.
Remember, anybody online, feel free to chat those in.
Okay, well, we'll go back to slides. Let me bring them up. But yeah, so that's PO copy paste. And again, that one's ready to go. We already have a customer up and running on it already, because they were waiting for that one to get into their hands to make sure that they can speed up their processes as fast as they can. So on to our next one, which is select job transfer. And for those of you that have been around our tools for a while, you might think, okay, I think select job transfer has been out for a while. And you would be exactly right. So select job transfer has been out for over a year, and this does give you the ability to transfer costs from one job to another. And that's when you think of select job transfer, spit that out, that's what it does. The piece that we're adding is the ability to do historical transactions. The current product as it was shipping only allowed you to do transactions that were in the current month. So basically, since you had did month-end processing last month. Okay, so it would only be in this case May transactions that you could transfer. And that process still works, still part of the product. But what we did is we've added a history window as well. And this will allow you to transfer, and I should say select costs that you want to transfer from one job to another that are past this period. So really, if we're thinking May as our current period, so basically April and backwards. And we actually won't be physically moving the cost transactions. We're going to be creating a general ledger entry to decrease your job you're transferring from and increase the job you're transferring to for that cost amount. And so again, we're not physically moving, the payables transaction, we're just moving the cost really from one job to the other. And the window looks exactly as it did for the regular select job transfer window that you may already be familiar with, but let's bring that up. Let me get my GP back up here. Close up my PO. Okay, should be back to seeing GP again, right, Sandy?
Yep.
All right, that's good. All right, so under transactions job, if you have this tool loaded, you'll have two options now down here. Select job transfer, which is the current data as it exists today. And then we've added job cost transfer history. So I'll bring that up. And the window itself really looks the same. On top is where you have your filter information. And so we're going to select to transfer from job 1001. And again, you can enter in a date range if you're looking for, especially a historical, you might have a lot of data. If you're looking for a particular time frame, or if you know the transaction date that you want to look for, you can type in those dates. As well as over here on the right-hand side is you can limit what data appears on the bottom by selecting which cost elements you want to appear there. So I'm going to click redisplay here. And you'll notice it brought in all kinds of data for me. And it's, transactions from payables, from payroll, etc. So if you only wanted to see labor, let's say, we could unmark these other options. Here, I'll do that, and then we'll click redisplay. Then you'll notice I'm seeing my payroll, my labor transactions. So again, it's just another way to help filter the data on the bottom if you didn't want to see it all and you're trying to narrow in on specific transactions. The other piece I'll point out is here on the header is it has multiple lines. We default them to only show one, but you can show all of the lines by clicking this expansion button over here. That will show all 3 lines. And you're like, this one's kind of blank. Not all of the data at the header applies to every transaction. So for example, this one is a payables transaction. So it'll have the vendor information. Down here, this one's a payroll transaction, so it has the employee information that was captured with it. So different types of data, like the item number comes in for your inventory, purchase order transactions. You'll see those have that data. So again, just a variety there. Other options, if you haven't used this window before, is we do have the select all feature. That's what this button is here. So it would select all of your costs from this particular window and then have the option to transfer it. We also have related transactions, and we need to find a purchase order line. So let me scroll down here, and you'll see these here with the receivings line, and you'll have a little asterisk if they have additional transactions on them. So let's go ahead and pick one of those. So this is saying for purchase order 2084, that's what's selected, but I have 4 related transactions. And I can see those by drilling in here on this blue line saying related transactions, or up here is a button to view related transactions as well. So I'll go ahead and use that one. Opens up an additional window where you're going to be able to see, okay, what 4 transactions go with that particular purchase order line. And so you can see the different shipments and then invoices that were brought in against this particular line item. And when you select to transfer that cost, it's selecting to transfer the cost of all of those items. So we'll do something easy. We'll just start out here with a PM transaction here up on top. Well, actually, I'll do the material one because we'll just transfer material over. When you click here and make your selection, you'll notice you have a new option up on top called Transfer to Job. And we'll go ahead and select that. Brings up a new window where you get to select what job do you want to transfer this data from. And again, since we are in the historical window, we're going to create a GL entry for the cost. We're not going to transfer the transaction off of the job as it is today. So I just want to be clear about that. It works a little bit different than the regular select job transfer. So we will transfer to job 1020. And cost element, you can type in, like we're going to say materials, and we're going to say we're going to materials. And here's another change that we have made just recently to go along with select cost transfer history window, but we've put this in all of the windows that use this lookup, whether it's select cost transfer or select job transfer, is we've altered this cost code lookup window. So you'll notice I've selected cost element number 2. And so when you open this window, it's only showing you cost element 2 cost codes. Where typically when you get these lookup windows, it's everything. And you can still get back to everything if you are like, oh, I screwed up. It wasn't really 2. I really meant it should have been 3. You can click to show all elements. I'll go ahead and do that. And it'll bring everything, all the cost codes that are assigned to this job. So it gives you that flexibility to see just the cost element you were looking for or all of the cost codes against that job. So I think that's really cool. And because now when I go back to the other key to act window, I'm like, oh, I just want these ones. So nice to see. And I know it's will come in handy for all you guys using these products as well. And again, the changes in our select cost transfer on the service side as you transfer to a job, and then here on select job transfer. So I'll go ahead and pick one of these. Let's see. Doesn't really, I should write down which one I'm going to transfer to, as you guys will see these as we go across. I'm going to transfer to the bottom one. So this cooling towers. Sounds like a cool name, right? Cooling towers. Right, Sandy?
Yeah, cool.
Okay. Well, you were just kidding. So also in this window related transactions, had I did the purchase order receivings ones, it would have dollar values in here for that total cost and the number of transactions, as well as it would show those when I had them selected down here on the bottom too for totals. All right, so I think we got our costs that we want to transfer, and we're just going to do the one so you guys can see how this flows over. But we're going to go ahead and click transfer. And I have my jobs here, so I know which ones I'm looking for. And you click transfer and it closes up the window and you're all done. And it's just like, okay, what happened? Where did it go? So you're not quite done. You have to go under transactions, financial, and under general. And mine, I know it just happens to be the last one I did, right? Because I just did it. So here's the transaction that it created. So it says here, which job did you transfer to, which is in my case 1020, and it says it was from the job cost history window, so it creates that batch name. As well as down here it says there was a job transfer and it tells you which one it went to. And then when you get down here to your debits and credits, it's really showing, okay, from this job, which this one is the transfer to, so that's my debit for WIP, right? Because we're going to move it from depending on where it was, one WIP account to the other. So we're transferring over here, 123.89 was the dollar amount that I had marked. And here's the cost code that I transferred to. So it's going to update that on the new job I'm transferring to. And then it's relieving it from job 1001 for this cost code here. So you can see how it creates that transaction. So it really doesn't happen until you click post here, and then that will be updating your JC 20001 tables and putting those additional costs onto your job. So then at that point moving forward, you'll have those, less costs on your first job and more cost on your second job. And then it's doing your transactions based on current date. And again, I'm using sample data, so it says it's April, but in this case, we were talking about it would be a May transaction. So I'll pause there, Sandy, is just double check any questions or comments.
No, still no questions from anyone.
Okay, or
So,
any questions from you, Sandy? You know, questions or comments. Just kidding.
no, I great new functionality. I like it.
It is. And again, you know, you just need to post this transaction just like normal and then, you know, proceed forward and then you can see them. So here, I'll actually post it. Oh, yep. That's what I was afraid of. Sorry, I have to roll into May because I have run month end on my stuff. And highly recommend that you do print and review your posting journals, even though we're not going to do that in our demo today. Well, let's head into JobQuest and pull up the new job. Let's see, 1020, that's where we transferred to, and we'll go into our job status window and we'll take a look for posted transactions. So miscellaneous materials 123.89. That number ring a bell? It should, right? That was what we transferred over. And then we did cooling towers because that was our cool cost code. You can see right there 123.89 is what we transferred in that actual amount when we did our posting. So very cool. And again, it doesn't physically move the transaction, just moving the cost from a general ledger perspective. That's what that does. So, all right. Well, Sandy, those were the two new tools we wanted to walk through today. And again, we always have more and more coming. And so keep your eyes open, I would say, for more information from us, as well as I want to remind everyone that we still have our synergy promotions going on. The buy 3 tools, get 3 tools free with the enhancement plans in there, as well as free installation. And then there's the buy 5, get 5 promotion as well, and that includes training as well. And those are here till the end of May for that particular promotion. If you have questions about any of our tools that you want to see, you know, a demo for, understand how they would work or how they would benefit you, certainly let us know. We on this next slide here, I just have sales at iscorp.biz. Drop an email there. I'm Cheryl, CHERYL at iscorp.biz, or Sandy, SANDY at iscorp.biz. You know, and we'd certainly be glad to help answer any questions that you have regarding our WS tools. So that is it for today. And again, we'll continue to do our WS tool updates once a month. So look for those webinars to continue to come out. And again, if you have questions in the meantime, please don't hesitate to reach out to us so we could answer those. So any last minute comments or questions you have there, Sandy?
No, not this time. Quiet group.
All right. Well, we appreciate everyone taking the time to join us today. Hope that you've learned something along the way. You got to see a tool that hopefully will work well for you in your environment, and keep us posted. We love the feedback as well. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.